Okay, so we left off the other day about one of the differences between the Chassidic community and the non-Chassidic communities regarding tefillin. And by Chassidim, they wear 2 pairs of tefillin, and by others, they wear only 1 pair of tefillin. So everyone agrees, Chassidim and non-Chassidim, everyone agrees that the tefillin that you're supposed to wear according to halacha is the one that goes according to the opinion of Rashi. That's something that everybody agrees to. And the other pair of tefillin is sort of to go beyond the letter of the law. But we'll soon explain more to it. As you said yesterday, the other day, is it to cover our bases? Yes, it's to cover our bases, but there's something more to it. So first, let me explain what is the difference between the 2 pairs of tefillin. I hope I have enough copies here. So something looks like it's missing. No. So tefillin, as we know, is and not just a mitzvah, but it says in Gemara that all the mitzvahs are compared to tefillin. Tefillin has something in it that it's sort of, if we put on a scale, tefillin on one side, all the other mitzvahs on the other side, tefillin, all the mitzvahs will be equal. So it's a mitzvah that has like a special, extraordinary, out of the ordinary importance spiritually, to the point that it's equivalent to doing all the mitzvahs. And I'm going to give this out now. The tefillin have in it 4 portions of the Torah. And these are the 4 portions. I'm going to give this out. If you can pass this around, thank you. These are the other portions. If you can give this out, thank you. So, one page you'll recognize that Shema Yisrael, V'hoyim Shemoah. And over there it says that you should put on the tefillin. Of course, when you look at it, you're not going to see the word tefillin, not in the Hebrew and not in the English. What it just say is, and you have the English translation, you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and there shall be a reminder between your eyes. That's what it says in the written Torah. The oral Torah, based on the oral tradition, what was passed down from Moshe Rabbeinu, we know there's hundreds of detailed laws about tefillin, and all those laws are mainly in the oral Torah, because in the Chumash, all it says, bind it on your arm, and you should put it between your eyes. We've spoken about this that there was a group that were called Tzedukim. They believed only in the written Torah, not in the oral Torah. So besides the fact that there are a lot of things that they didn't keep because it's not in the written Torah, there was another very basic difference. And that is they put the tefillin between the eyes, literally. Over here.
Why?
Because it says, put it between your eyes. This is between your eyes. The oral Torah, Torah Shabbat Pet, teaches us that, and again, it's what Moshe Rabbeinu gave over from generation to generation. Between your eyes means on your head, in the center of the head, that it'll be between your eyes. So it's over here, and it comes out, but not literally between the eyes. If you would see someone who's a tzeduki wearing tefillin, they'd be sticking out like this. Who are they?
There's a group of them in Yerushalayim.
Today they don't call them tzedukim. There's a group, very small group, they're called karayim. Karayim. In Europe, there were places where, in Crimea, there was a whole community of them. We had a student there that told me that on her grandfather's passport, when it says nationality, instead of Jewish, it said Karayim. That was his nationality. And there are very difficult questions with marriage, with halacha, are they Jewish or not? Because there's a lot of, over the years, a lot of things where, they don't follow halacha. So there could have been a lot of things mixed up. But this is one, so these are the four portions that are in the tefillin. So one is Shema, one is Vaya Shemoah, and then the other two is in Parshas Bo. Is the other sheet. Yeah. You didn't get the Shema Vaya Shemoah one? Anyone? Any more copies of Shema?
Yes.
What? They got stuck. Yeah.
In this paragraph on the other side of the sheet, what is the upon your heart and on your soul, like before the violent verse on your hand?
Making your heart, you should teach it to your children. When you lie down, when you wake up.
On the other side of that paper.
On the other side? Okay, which part are you talking about?
Right before, like therefore you place these words of mine upon your heart and upon your soul.
Yeah, it says these
But
words.
just, like, to learn that?
Right. Now the word, when you want to say, make sure that this thing is going to penetrate and you really got the message, it means place it in your mind and on your heart. That you're going to remember it. It'll be edged in your mind and edged in your heart. That's what it means. Now I'll try to explain a little bit more about what's behind the tefillin, but let's first do the technical part. Yeah.
So it mentions it twice to bind on your hand and between your eyes, like in the Torah.
In the Torah, it's actually written 4 times.
4 times.
These 4 places are the 4 times that it's written.
Oh,
And these are the
that
4
line.
portions, right? And these are the 4 portions that we write, that we put in the tefillin.
So it only says to bind it upon your hand and between your eyes, like over and over and over again.
4 times,
4
yeah.
times. Okay.
I'm going to pass this around. The difference between the tefillin that we put on the arm and the tefillin we put on the head, the tefillin that we put on the arm is written on one piece of parchment, all 4 portions. The one that we put on our head has 4 compartments, 4 separate portions. So it looks like this on the inside. I'm going to pass this around. See, there's 4 separate compartments. And on the outside, you also see 4 lines there. It's separate.
What are the lines are for?
Because each one is separate. They're not one thing with a line. They're separate things and they're put together. And I'm going to pass it around. You can see on one side is a shin that has 4 heads. The other side is a shin with 3 heads. These are all details that are in halacha, how it has to be done. You can have a look at it and pass it around. So what is the difference between Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam? Everyone agrees the way tefillin have to be. Everyone agrees you have to write these 3 portions. The difference is the order. In what order should the tefillin be? There are 4 portions. What goes first? So Rashi's opinion is the order is the way it's written in the Torah. The first thing in the Torah is what's written in Parshas Bo, and that's the other sheet, not the Shema. It's in Parshas Bo. Then you write the second portion, and then you put the third portion, and then you put the fourth portion. But there's another question. When you do it in the head, what's the first and what's the last? On the right to the left, or left to the right? So the Gemara says it's from right to left. We still got a question. Right to left from me or right to left for the one that's looking at me? Oh, so no, actually means right to left for the one that's looking at my tefillin. So the first one here would be Kaddish, second one would be V'haya Kiviyacha, the third one would be Shema, and the fourth one would be V'haya Shema.
Wow.
We're going from right to left. That's Rashi's opinion.
Could you repeat it? Do you mind writing it down, actually?
What?
Do you mind writing it down?
Yeah, let me write it down. Let me put it on the board. this is so these pashas have names. The first one is called Kadesh because that's the first word. Kadesh. No, that's Pesach. What?
How do you hear that?
With my eyes. Kaddish, the reason why it says Kaddish here, because it starts off that we should sanctify the firstborn. Kaddish li kol b'chor. Then it talks about tefillin. So that's the one. That's the first in the Torah. This is the first in the order. The second one begins the word v'hoya, means when it'll come that Hashem will bring you into the land. V'hoya, v'hoya, or v'haya, whichever way you want to say it. Okay, then number 3 in the Chumash is Shema. And number 4 is V'haya, that's a different V'haya. V'haya im Shemoah. V'haya im Shemoah. When you will listen. That's Rashi. And Rabbeinu Tam, it's spelled this way, Rabbeinu, our Rebbe, Tam. So he says, number 1 is the same. Number 2 is the same. Number 3, number 4 is reverse. Number 4 is Shema. And number 3 is V'haya im Shemoah.
Rabbi, how do people know which direction you face? Like, do you have like it be like, do they know which side has to face front to be correct?
What do you mean?
Like there was like the side that had like the 3 and it had the 4. Like, is one of them supposed to be like the one that's like facing forward to make sure that?
Oh, one is on your right, one is on your left. Whoever wears tefillin is going to be one on your right, one on your left.
So it's this one?
Right.
But like, is it like they
You
know
can't
which
turn
one
it
goes?
around because it's made in a way that the strap that holds it around the head goes through one side. So that's the back and this is the front.
Well, like, how is it decided? Like, why is it a shin on both sides and why is one of them like extra?
Right, well, that's why I said there's a lot of things we can talk about. I want to first get this straight. Not that you have to remember this, just that you should be at least informed that Rashi and Tam are the same tefillin. The only difference is the order. And so when people say it means the tefillin that are written according to Rashi's opinion, when they say Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, written according to Rabbeinu Tam. So you should know, because if somebody, they tell this joke that somebody came to shul and he said, "Oh, I forgot my tefillin. Can I use these tefillin here on the table?" So someone said, "No, these are Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin." "Oh, by the time he comes back, I'll be finished already." He meant to what? He meant to say, Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin, you can't fulfill your obligation of tefillin. The main obligation is Rashi's. In addition to Rashi, and you wrote that first. In addition to Rashi, do Rabbeinu Tam's. Now, how do you do both? So the custom is, most places, that first you daven with Rashi's. Everybody davens with Rashi's. After the davening is over, you put on the Rabbeinu Tam's, and you read these 4 portions: Shema, V'haya Shemoah, Kadesh, V'haya Kiviyacha. There is another custom among certain Sephardic Jews that they do it even different. They wear both tefillin at the same time. Except those tefillin are not this size, they're a quarter of this size, very small, and they put on both on the head, both on the arm, and they daven with both together at the same time.
That's a chabad or not?
No, Sephardic. Even Sephardic, not all Sephardic Jews do that. So the ones who wear tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam are usually Sephardic Jews and Chassidic Jews. And others that are not Sephardic, not Chassidic, they just wear one pair of tefillin. Yeah.
When a bar mitzvah boy says the mimer about tefillin,
Yeah.
does it have anything to do with this?
No, it explains tefillin in general, but doesn't go into this subject of Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam's.
And so after all of the davening with the Rashi's tefillin, you take it off and then you put on the Rabbeinu Tam's and then you just say.
Just the 4 portions, right?
there is time for Rabbeinu Tam?
There's what?
Time?
What do you mean by time?
Uh,
How long? Until
no,
when?
there is- Yeah.
Same thing, only till the end of the day. We don't wear tefillin at night. So once it's the best time to do it is in the morning, and the right time is right after davening. But any time of the day you can put on Rashi's. If a person didn't put on tefillin in the morning, you put on any time of the day, and Rabbi Tam's also until sundown.
So a man can put Rashi, and then if you're very Rashi, you can do it also later.
Yeah, it's not preferable, but you can do it later. Yeah.
Is this order, is this from like right to left or left to right?
Which are Rashi's order?
Well,
Number one, it's from right to left. And number two, it's from the right of the person that's viewing me, not from my side. In other words,
so
we finished? You still looking? In other words, this is the right for the other person, this side. The first box is the first, the second, third, and the fourth.
for Rabbi Tam,
Rashi, that's
for
Rashi's.
Rashi,
Yeah,
like this,
like this.
and then
What does Rabbeinu Tam say?
like that.
So based on a certain source in Gemara, Rabbeinu Tam interprets the Gemara this way, that the first two portions have to be from right to left, and the second two portions are from left to right. And that's why he says that Shema and Vahei Shema are reversed, which means on the second two portions, first is the Shema, and then the end is Vahei Shema. Now, what happens if you make a mistake and you switch it? So according to Rashi, you didn't put on tefillin that day, which is pretty severe. According to Rabbeinu Tam, you did. Now, I wanted to show you, every man usually in his tefillin has this. One, this is for tefillin. One says on it Reish Tov, which is Rabbeinu Tam, and one says on it Rashi. But what happens if you mix them up? So usually on this thing, the cover, I don't have it here, but usually they would put a sticker on, green, red, blue color, to remember that it's Rashi or Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. There's also another way of knowing, because it could get mixed up and you don't know if you're putting on the right pair of tefillin or not. So why is it that this only started mainly with the Baal Shem Tov? If this is the right thing to do and you want to cover your bases. So first of all, we said that Chassidus always goes beyond the letter of the law. You want to do more than you're obligated. So that's why the Baal Shem Tov, who encourages students to serve Hashem with love and emotion, and because you love Hashem, you want to do more than what's required. So what's more than what's required? Not only Rashi, but also tefillin according to Rabbeinu Tam. But it seems there's more to it, and that is that, by the way, we don't make a bracha on Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. And the reason is because according to halacha, it's like Rashi. Rabbeinu Tam's is extra. It's not an obligation according to halacha. So therefore, you don't make a bracha. Oh, there's one more very important question. I'm surprised no one's asking me the question. What do you have? Anyone think of a very important question? I'll give you a clue.
You can only get one, which would you do?
When did Rashi live?
Long
A long time ago. Okay, that's very specific.
time.
Right, 1,000 years ago. Rashi was 1,000 years ago. Rabbeinu Tam was his grandson.
Or what did they do in between?
Very good.
Oh.
That's the big question. What did they do before Rashi? The Torah was given approximately 2,300 years before Rashi. So what were people doing until then?
Potato here, potato, just kidding. That was the story.
So the answer is that apparently people were choosing which way. Some did one way. It's fascinating, by the way, to see archaeologists have found tefillin that are 2,000 years old. They found tefillin that were in Masada, that's about 2,000 years old, and they found Rashi's and they found Rabbeinu Tam's. And I think the accepted understanding of this is that before Rashi, people did either way, and Rashi in his generation gathered together other scholars, and together they all ruled the halacha should be this way. This is the main one. and you shouldn't just put on Rabbeinu. So until it was ruled that way, if you put on Rashi, you're okay. And by the way, before Rashi, it wasn't called Rashi and Rabbeinu Tam. It was before they lived. So obviously, there were always two opinions amongst the rabbis, which is the right way to put on tefillin. So some follow this opinion, some follow that opinion. Then comes a point where the rabbis get together and they bring together the majority of opinions. And Rashi agreed with all the other rabbis that it should be this specific way. And Rabbeinu Tam insisted still that it should be another way. I remember it happens to probably everybody at least once or twice in their life that by mistake you put on the wrong tefillin and you daven with Rabbeinu Tam's tefillin. So I was told that Rabbeinu Tam said, if anybody ends up davening with my tefillin, don't worry about it. I'll be there to protect you and to defend you. Like if you're putting on my tefillin, I'll stick up for you. Yeah.
Against what?
What?
Stick up against what?
In other words, it means that I davened with the wrong tefillin, and I made a bracha on tefillin that I'm not supposed to make a bracha. But it being that this is his ruling, so in a sense, in the heavenly court, I'll be your advocate.
But Rashi is Ashkenazi, so do Sfardim also hold by?
Even though Rashi was Ashkenazim, but Sfardim also hold that the main tefillin is the way Rashi did it. And maybe because at that time, all the rabbis got together. But the Rabbeinu Tam, even, I'm sure there's Sfardim that don't wear both at the same time. They also daven with Rashis and put on with times later. But it appears to be that, in a sense, it's similar to Chassidus. Chassidus is part of Torah. It's a very deep part of Torah. And yet, until the Baal Shem Tov, it wasn't something which was studied. And that's why it did come out to teach it, which opposition. People were saying this is something new, was never done before, and why are you introducing new things? And if it wasn't done before, why are we doing it now? And the main point of Baal Shem Tov's teaching was it wasn't done before because at that time we weren't ready for it. Now the world is in a state where we can start studying Chassidus. After so many thousands of years of Torah, mitzvahs, and everything else, and we're getting closer to Mashiach, now we are sort of deserving, or we're capable, that we can study the deeper part of Torah. So the same as with the tefillin. It means that this set of tefillin has in it, in a certain sense, another degree of holiness that's not accessible to everybody, or it's not something that everybody can go by. And not everybody should put on these tefillin. Masses, we should all put on Rashi's tefillin. Came the Baal Shem Tov and said, but now the time has come, just like everybody is able to study Chassidus, right now, everybody's also able to start putting our Rabbeinu Tamas. But being that there's still something exclusive about it, so some people wait until they're age 40. Some people wait until they're married and they're stronger. And some people wait until they're 18. And I told you, in Chabad, we did it from age 18. But at a certain point, the Rebbe announced that from now on, you can do it you should do it from Bar Mitzvah. Which means, again, times have changed. And now we're more ready. And not only more ready, now we can use the extra spiritual strength that we get from putting our Rabbeinu Tam's throne. Yeah.
Are the other two types of tefillin like different order?
Right. It's all about the order.
All in order.
Yeah.
But it's always those four.
It's always the same four parshas. And if you look at how Yom Yom, there's a place where it talks about it, but even to this day, that only remains for selected people. The Rebbe actually spoke about this in the Sikha, and he said it was something that I was afraid to put on. If you listen, I just want to give an example of something that we can relate to. Let's take the Beis Hamikdash. There's certain compartments in the Beis Hamikdash that everybody can walk in. There's certain parts only a Kohen could walk in there. Why? Because he has additional degrees of holiness being a Kohen. So therefore, he could walk into that place, and for him it'll be appropriate and suitable. Someone else is not allowed to go there, and if he does, some places, even a Kohen can walk into the Holy of Holies. Even the Kohen Gadol can't go there except for Yom Kippur, which means if it's a higher degree of holiness, less people are allowed to go in there or to come close to it. So the Rebbe said, I was afraid to put on the 4 pairs of tefillin, only the 2, until my father-in-law told me to put it on. So to this day, it still remains something which is reserved only for selected people. And I guess every person has to make that decision with his mashpia or rabbi, if that's really what they need to do or not. So that's what I meant before. It's not only to cover all bases, but just like learning Chassidus gives a person additional spiritual strength, which we need in this time, in these challenging times. And on the other hand, being that we're coming after thousands of years of Torah and mitzvahs, there's something in us that makes us more suitable that we can absorb this, that it's okay for us to do this. The same as with Rabbeinu times. And as time goes on, we become more. So this is, when you do Mivtzoyim, you don't do Mivtzoyim with Rabbeinu times. Only Rashi's tefillin, because that's the obligation. Yeah.
Could you like briefly explain the Chassidics behind like why that order? Like, does it like are there certain energies of these things and they have to be in that order?
Briefly, in the 30 seconds I have, and maybe next week we'll do more.
Well, like,
Yes,
the bottom 2.
it corresponds to the
Why
spheres.
not in Shema? Shema's so powerful.
It corresponds to the spheres.
The spheres.
In other words, the first 2 corresponds to Chokhmah and Bina. And the first one corresponds to the Yud of Hashem's name. The second one corresponds to the Hey of Hashem's name. The Shema corresponds to the Vav of Hashem's name. And it corresponds to the 6 character traits. And the last parsha corresponds to Malchus and to the last Hey in Hashem's name. So that's why it's that order. What about the other opinion? I'm not sure. Maybe they believe that spiritually, this is the way it corresponds to Hashem's name or something else.
But there's many versions of Hashem's name, right?
There's one version, the way it's spelled. When we say there's many versions, it means even the way it's spelled, Yud Kei Vav Kei, there's more details to it. Like, for example, Yud Kei Vav Kei is 4 letters. But if you spell out the name, like you spell Yud, Vav, Dalet, it spells Yud. Now you have 3 more letters. Then you spell out the Hey, it's Hey Aleph. You have 2 letters. And altogether, I think it's 10. Yeah.
Shema corresponds to
You said the number of letters?
6
What?
The number of letters?
I think altogether Yud Kei Vav Kei is going to be 10. Yud, Vav, Dalet.
Because there are 10 different combinations, I think, of those, the math parts. The number of combinations you can have of those different verses.
Would be 10. Okay, that's also true. Yeah. Okay. Be continued.
Rabbi Majeski, I need to remind you about the ignorance class.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Gotta find the right time.